Hey, if you missed this past Sunday, we talked about the miracle where the royal official came to Jesus just frantic because his son was sick 20 miles away. And the passage is really so interesting because the guy was so insistent. Jesus, you've got to come and heal my son, heal my son, heal my son. And of course, we don't even know if the guy knew if Jesus could heal somebody. Maybe he knew about turning the water into wine, and he just thought, well, if you could do that with liquid, maybe you can do something with people, sick people. And so he travels 20 miles, which at that time was going to take hours and hours and hours. And he travels 20 miles, leaves his son behind, who, as far as he knows, that's the last time he's going to see his son alive. That he might not be back in time before his son has already passed away. And he's spending his last few hours of his son's life searching for Jesus because he feels like Jesus is his best hope for curing his son. Goes to a nearby city called Cana, and how's he going to find Jesus? How's he even going to know what he looks like? He's heard about him, but he's never even met him. And so he's willing to take that time to go and search for Jesus. So he had crisis faith. Hey, maybe I'll give Jesus a try in the middle of a situation that I can't control anyhow. A lot of times we have that, don't we? We have crisis faith. That might be you. You might be going through a hard time right now, kind of end of your rope kind of scenario. And you're like, hey, why not let's turn to Jesus? Let's maybe start going to church or something like that. But that's not actually a relationship with God necessarily. That's just kind of crisis faith. A lot of times people do that, and then when things work out in their lives, they kind of go back to saying, I don't really need Jesus. I don't really need God in my life. I got this now. And so this guy found Jesus, and he was so insistent, Jesus, I need you to come with me. And yet Jesus looked at him and he said, I'm not going. I'm not coming with you. But you know what? Your son's going to be fine. And the guy took Jesus at his word. It's so amazing in this passage, I think, that the guy took Jesus at his word. In fact, so much so, the conversation happened at 1 p.m. The guy is on his way back the next day. Now, it's going to take hours to get back, but we're assuming he's riding a horse, something. And so he could have gotten back that night, but he takes his time. He waits till the next morning to start traveling back because he is taking Jesus at his word that, Jesus said, my son's going to be fine. And on the way back, he meets his servants and they say, hey, listen, you'll never guess what happened. About 1 o'clock yesterday, your son got totally better. And it's so cool because it doesn't say he started to get better. It doesn't say things started to improve. It said he got better. He was cured exactly at the same time you were having a conversation with Jesus. It just didn't leave any doubt. There was no idea that, well, maybe his antibodies started kicking in his body and the fever kind of turned and he slowly came out of it. And we don't know if the conversation with Jesus helped or didn't help. No, at the exact same time that he talked to Jesus, the son was healed. Here's what's really cool about this passage, though. It says that at that point, the guy just completely believed in Jesus Christ. Not a crisis faith, but you know what? Even when things are going well in my life, I'm following Jesus. I'm all His. That guy totally gave his life to Jesus at that point to become a Christ follower. And it says the rest of his family did too. And that's what we really drilled down on Sunday. The bottom line was the steps of faith that you take, we're going to show your kids that Jesus is worth trusting. And really, that's true of anybody. It's true of your coworkers. It's true of the people you live around. It's true of people in your community group, that when you take steps of faith, it shows the people around you that Jesus is worth trusting. Newsflash, just showing up at church on Sunday doesn't tell anybody that Jesus is really worthy of trust. It doesn't impress, and nobody says, oh wow, if you're willing to go to church, Jesus must be real. But when they see you taking steps of faith, not just having faith, but taking steps of faith, it makes huge impact on the people around you and especially on your kids. And so what we challenged you at the end of the service is maybe you need to actually do something about homelessness in the area. Maybe you need to go on a mission trip and you don't have the money to do that, but you're gonna take the step and you're gonna pray and God's gonna bring the money in, bring the funds in. You're gonna put some prayer letters out and trust God. What are you doing? Anytime you begin to step beyond your ability to follow God, that's when you're taking a step of faith. And a lot of times we don't ever do that. We don't ever step beyond what we can do to actually see God work in a big way. And because of it, our kids sit back and say, wow, that's great that you go to church, Mom and Dad, that's great. But I've never really seen God do something huge in your life. And so it's those steps of faith that make a huge impact on your kids and really everybody else around you as well.